Hello, fellow gamers. This is Andy Irish with Andy Irish Gaming. Just wanting to say I hope each and every one of you had a fantastic week. E3 was nothing but spectacular with all the gameplay and the game reveals and just the details that came out for all the games and future tech. Each company had a very good showing. For me personally, Sony and Microsoft stuck out. Sony, Spider-Man, the nostalgia of the whole game in general was just like a slap in the face. It was just that good visually. The Last of Us 2, fantastic, most realistic game I think I saw at the entire week or of conferences. But for me personally, I think with the variety and all the showings, I would say that Microsoft came out slightly ahead of Sony. I thought I'm a little late to the party, but I'm just going to do a little reaction and opinion of their conference. They started out with Halo Infinite. And they showed it on the Slip Space engine, which is supposedly the reason why Halo hasn't come out. Is they're saving it and working it on this new tech, this new engine. And the demonstration they showed looked phenomenal. Everything was almost photorealistic. Texture-wise, everything was good. Just the smoothness of the I think those were rhinos running across that pasture, the smoke coming out of the grenade, and I think what got me the most and I thought was great for the future of the game is probably Master Chief being in it looked like the old Halo art for the suit, so that really got me. Next was Ori and the Will of the Wisps, which was good. I'm definitely glad that they didn't just slightly modify and send out the same game, Ori. It was every which way you turn, left and right, there was something different there for you, which definitely adds more time playing the game. Next was Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. It was great visually. It was your third person samurai inspired game. It looked good. I might pick that up. I'm just not sold on that yet. I'm gonna have to look into that game more. Next was Fallout 76. We have a release date of November 14th, 2018. When I heard that there was going to be another Fallout, and it wasn't numbered, or when I heard it was going to be Fallout 76, I kind of thought it was going to be like a spin-off, but in return it turned out to be a whole new game. It's the prequel to the prior Fallouts. I believe it's staged in West Virginia right after the Great War, I think it was right after the Great War. It looked decent. I kind of don't like the aspect of the whole when you get a kill spree, you could just drop some nukes and kill half the map. I wasn't too interested about that. Next, there was the Awesome Adventure of Captain Spirit. This is based in a Life is Strange universe. I'm more than likely not going to pick this one up. It's about a kid who, is over what's the word I'm looking for? Well, he's very creative. Oh, he's over-imaginative. I'm sorry. Spaced out there. Over-imaginative. He gets stuck in a world of his own creativity. It looked good. Very good graphics. It's just not something I will personally play. My kids might eventually want it. But Next was Metro Exodus. It was great visually, stunning texture-wise. The story looked great and unique. I did like seeing in the demo or the trailer that you can definitely optimize your guns in several varieties. Next was Crackdown 3. It definitely looked more polished than it did last year. However, I am still pissed off that we have not seen, the multiplayer destruction. The only thing I can think of was why it wasn't shown off is the conference was already going to be running too long, and they might show that off at Gamescom. Vehicle gameplay. I might have missed it last year, but I do not recall seeing anything where you have your own tank or you can drive up walls. So that's definitely a plus for me. I mean, it looked great. And then there was even a mech in the trailer. Kingdom Hearts 3. It looked stunning. I'm not very familiar with the franchise. I do recall playing the first one at one point in time, but I remember nothing about it. I do think I am quite surprised that it even made it to Microsoft stage and not Sony or Nintendo. And you could even see that it kind of lacked during the conference. I mean, there wasn't that pop there for it, but I mean, the game looks fantastic. And you can obviously tell it's going to be very good story-wise. Next was Sea of Thieves DLC. Cursed Sails and Forgotten Shores. The gist of that is it's going to have skeleton crews sailing and going after in-game players. And it looks like there's a potential for more islands, fire islands. There wasn't too much interest, or there wasn't much detail on that. Next was for Forza Horizon 4. Fantastic. There's going to be dynamic seasons, which I'm not exactly sure how it's going to work. What's going to be every other day, every week, the season changes. The thing that got me is the immersive world. I want to say it's the crew that tried this, and they failed epically. Where you can just drive up and, go off into the sunset with each other and do whatever. I might have that wrong. For whatever reason, that's just the game that pops into my mind. But this one, you'll be able to drive up, and next thing you know, you might see 5 or 6 friends or a group of people just drifting around the corner together. Of course, it looks visually wonderful. Next, Phil Spencer took the stage, and we had the announcement of the opening of the Initiative, which is the company where David Gallagher is going to be running in Santa Monica. It's, from what I can only think of after rumors and speculations, it's supposed to be what they're going to call their quadruple A studio, high budget, best of the best. We had the acquisitions of Undead Labs, which released State of Decay 2 and State of Decay 1. The game is looking great after that patch. We got Playground Games, is the company that primarily takes care of Microsoft's Horizon franchise with Forza. They are working on another game. We didn't hear anything about that at E3, but I can only assume that maybe that one will come up at Gamescom, or it'll be used later on in the year, maybe at Tokyo Game Show. Next was Ninja Theory, which just blew my mind. Hellblade is a fantastic game, graphically, visually, story wise. That I didn't see that one coming at all. Now Playgrounds and I knew they were coming out with their other studio, the Initiative, but I did not expect that one. And then Compulsion Games, which is the maker of We Happy Few, which will be actually shipping out here, I think, in August. And it will be multi-plat, just because they had already made the game for the platforms. So, I mean, those themselves were bombshells. PUBG released a new map. It's supposed to be a snow map. So I will most likely be finding footsteps, and I will be shooting people. I will be hunting you by your footsteps. No, but in all realistic, I do hope they work on their art. The game looks good. The map looked good. Next was Tales of Vesperia Remaster. Great trailer, and I mean, it looked visually good. Not really for me, but I know they have a very, very, very big, following. Division 2, going to be was in Washington, D.C. Visually, for me, the gameplay looked a little choppy. It was really slow, just, I guess, because of the co-op. They introduced the game through co-op. I mean, I'll just have to see the story and decide if I'm going to even pick that one up. Next was Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Looked fantastic. Great textures. I mean, it just... Laura's going to probably be a badass in this one, to be honest. Which is good, because the movie, she was always a badass, and then the game, she was just like, nah. But, it looks very good story-wise, too, and I just can't wait till that one comes out. Next was Sessions. I don't know what to think about this one. I would compare it to Skate 1. It's just supposed to be your standard skateboarding sim. The trailer looked really good. Just, I really don't know what to think about that one either. Devil May Cry 5. There's something about the main protagonist having one arm that kind of excites somebody. But to be honest, I've never played. I think I might have maybe played one of the older ones, but the maker supposedly making this one, so we'll just see. Cuphead DLC, the delicious last course, new weapons, new boss battles, new playable characters. How can you not be excited? Then there was Tunic, which for me kind of looked like what was that? Something Tales that Microsoft came out with. Happy Tales or something like that. It kind of reminds me of that. It looked good. And the one thing I can tell, we heard Phil Spencer went to Japan and worked on getting Japanese support, and I think Jump Force kind of shows that they're back on that same wavelength where they realize they need to support these Japanese developers. Jump Force, which is like a 3v3 fighting game, seems to be a combination of anime characters. I want to say it was Dragon Ball, Naruto, One Piece, and I think at the very end there were 2 characters from Death Note, which have been confirmed to be non-playable, so maybe a story mode in there. Dying Light. This game really hit home for me. I mean, I'm really interested in games where, your decisions have ramifications all throughout the game. And this one's going to have ramifications out the wazoo. You pick something, 3 other things are going to be, harder and whatnot. So I'm excited for that. The real shocker for me was Battletoads. You heard nothing about it. Never saw a trailer for it. Well, this E3, I mean, there was a small teaser trailer, and the only confirmation so far about it are it's going to be 2.5D hand-drawn graphics, and it can go up to 4K. 3-player co-op. There was really nothing to look at. Just Cause 4 looked great. Gears released or showed 3 games. You're gonna have Gear Pop, which I think they're co-funding with Funko. You're gonna have Gear Tactics, which I believe is an RTS for PC, and then Gear 5 will look absolutely amazing. The story and the emotion and the motion capture just at the beginning of the trailer, it's like slap your face. It's like slap you in the face good. And I just can't wait till that game comes out. The immersion throughout the world. There's gonna be several vehicles you can be on. And the last game shown was Cyberpunk 2077. I think this game has been in development for 7 years. It's been 5 since you got the last little bit of information. The game looks fantastic. Graphics look fantastic. Textures looks fantastic. The small little gameplay you saw looked fantastic. Visually it was just great. Most likely going to be rated M, nudity, violence. It could potentially be what future gaming looks like if it looks as good as the trailer and the small amount of gameplay you saw did. And then of course there was a little bit of information about the future Xbox is codenamed Scarlet. Xboxes, as he said, consoles during the E3 press conference. The only thing I can think of is there's probably going to be 2 or 3 SKUs. One potentially being kind of like the X with just a slightly modified GPU, so that it's not overwhelming the CPU. Or maybe even it'll just be 2, and one being maybe $150 more, and it being a higher CPU and a higher GPU, because the Ryzen's going to put a lot of stress on that CPU. I'm excited about that, and all you're hearing is a lot of people are like, well, they just came out with the Xbox. Yeah, well, as good as the Xbox X is, and I love my Xbox One X, it's just the shortcoming is I want 60 frames per second games all the way across the board. You could throw an option at me as much as you want, but there's just something lacking there. Now I guess all we can look forward to is Gamescom and the Tokyo Game Show if Microsoft decides to go. We still have several questions. We've not seen the destruction for Crackdown 3. There's already been confirmation that there's going to be a wireless 2.0 controllers. So it's just a matter of time. Thank you for visiting the channel. Love each and every one of you. Like, share, and subscribe.